Hey there, wonderful matriculants. Welcome to Educate. Today we'll be doing settlements in settlement geography. Now, let us introduce what is a settlement in the first place. So this word is so familiar with you because it's general. A settlement basically is a place where a group of people live, and then there is infrastructure in that place. There are buildings, of course, and there are roads, and then there are also socio-economic activities that are happening in that place. So a settlement is just a place where you'll find people living there, and then you find infrastructure such as roads and buildings, and then people do social and economic activities so that they can make money and sustain their life. So basically, settlements are divided into two main types. We have got rural settlements, we also have got urban settlements. You are particularly familiar with the word rural and urban. And some of you, maybe they've got a dream to live in a rural area or in an urban area. So now, how do we end up differentiating between rural area and urban settlement? Of course, you are familiar with Emakaya, you are familiar with Ematropen, if I want to be vernacular. So now, let's look at what actually differentiates between a rural settlement and an urban settlement. How are these different from each other? They are differentiated by this feature known as the function. So basically, each and every settlement has got its function. When we say that we're talking about the settlement's function, we're talking about the activities that happen in that particular settlement. So basically, rural settlements, we say that they are unifunctional. So the word unifunctional suggests that rural settlements have got only one function or only one economic activity that is happening. So in rural areas or in rural settlements, usually we find primary activities, primary economic activities. So this is actually primary economic activities. We are talking about things such as farming, things such as fishing, things such as mining, each and every economic activity that involves extracting raw materials is found in rural settlements. I mean, in urban areas, in towns and cities, you won't find people farming, you won't find people fishing. All of those are primary economic activities, which we'll focus on later when we do economic geography. But rural settlements, they've got only one function. Their main function is primary economic activities. Whereas in urban settlements, they are multifunctional. When we say that urban settlements are multifunctional, it means that they've got several functions, several economic activities that are happening within urban settlements. Okay, so the variety of functions include secondary. Remember, when we're talking about secondary economic activities, we are talking about things such as manufacturing. Okay, in urban areas, they manufacture clothes, they manufacture things, different type of things. So secondary economic activities, there's manufacturing. You won't find that in rural areas or in rural settlements, because in rural settlements we are mostly focusing on extracting raw materials from the ground or from the earth. Okay, so the secondary activities such as manufacturing, they happen in urban settlements. And then the tertiary activities, these are the services. So when I talk about tertiary activities, we're talking about services such as salons, goods and services, the difference between those. Okay, you are likely less to find someone running a salon at a rural area or a rural settlement, but you are likely to find them in an urban area. So services such as lawyers, such as attorneys, such as salons, any kind of service that you can pay money for, it is usually found in urban settlements. Also quaternary activities. So there are also quaternary activities as well. So in urban areas, we don't only have one function, we have got several functions or a variety of functions. And remember that the function is basically the economic activities that are happening in that particular settlement. So that's how you differentiate between rural and urban settlements. So furthermore, we can classify settlements according to their size. So basically, settlements, for us to classify them, we classify them from the smallest size to the biggest size. So basically, when we arrange settlements, we use this thing known as a hierarchical order. So when you see the word hierarchy or hierarchical order, we're just talking about this order of arranging settlements from the smallest size to the biggest size settlement. So now here, under rural settlements, we've got three main classes or three main types of rural settlements. We've got an isolated farmstead, we have got a rural hamlet, we have got a village. So we have got three types of rural settlements. So under the rural areas, the types of rural areas that we can have is an isolated farmstead, it's a rural hamlet, and it's a village. And then after that, we look at under urban settlements. The types of urban settlements that we've got towns, we've got cities, we've got metropolis, we've got a conurbation, as well as a megalopolis. You probably don't know these last three. I know that. You probably just know a town and a city because the metropolis, the conurbation, and the megalopolis, they are less likely to be found anyway. So we usually use a triangle to represent this hierarchical order of arranging the settlements. So now here, when we arrange settlements, we start with the rural settlement, the isolated farmstead. So the isolated farmstead, it is found at the bottom of the hierarchical order, and then the conurbation, it is found at the topmost of the hierarchical order. Okay, so as we arrange them like that, we're arranging them from the smallest to the biggest size. So now the trend of this triangle needs to be understood, that the more you go up with the settlements, we have got fewest settlements. So the number of settlements decrease. What does this mean? It means that we have got many of these isolated farmsteads and we have got less conurbations. Okay, so we've got many farmsteads and less conurbations. Okay, so this just tells us that we have got more of the isolated farmsteads, okay, than the conurbations. And then as you go up the hierarchy here, the number of settlements will decrease as well. But the size of the population as well, it also works the same way. So we have got okay, it's a different way. We have got a tiny population at the isolated farmsteads. So at the farms, the farmsteads, basically, we have got less people. The population is small, all right. But at the conurbations, we have got a huge amount of people. Okay, so this is how we understand this settlement hierarchy or this hierarchical order. Okay, so now basically as we go on, we can now look at a what is this isolated farmsteads, what is this a rural hamlet and whatnot. So under the rural settlements, let's look at an isolated farmstead. We define an isolated farmstead as just a single farm. So it's just a single farm. Look at this key carefully here in this diagram given. This box here, or this block here that is shaded, represents a farmstead. It is just a single farm. Okay, it's just a single farm. A toilet is just a building. Let's just say it's hut. It's just a small place. And then there are a lot of fields there to plant. Remember, Vele, in rural areas, the main focus is to plant and to do all those primary economic activities. So the farmstead will just find only one block. It's known as an isolated farmstead because it is isolated. It is just, you just find only one farm, a single farm in an area, in a large area. Okay, the rest will just be fields and grazing land and whatnot. And then we can have a rural hamlet. When we talk about a rural hamlet, we have got these farmsteads, but then they are loosely grouped together. They are no longer isolated, but the farmsteads, they are now loosely grouped together. Let's just assume that is something like this. So these blocks are representing a single farm. So you can see that they are grouped together, but they are loosely grouped. They are not really that closer to one another. So it's a rural hamlet. This is known as a rural hamlet. So you've got isolated farmsteads. Okay, it's just a single farm. And then now when those farmsteads are grouped loosely, or they are dispersed, or they are far away from each other, loosely, then it's a rural hamlet. Then in a village, when you say that you are going to a village is a dense grouping of farmsteads. So it means you'll find farmsteads that are closely packed to one another. Maybe they will be just in a line, something like this. These are farmsteads that are closely packed to one another. Maybe there's a road here, and then this is another farmstead. This is another farmstead. So villages basically has got a lot of people, because basically in villages you have got a lot of farmsteads that are grouped in one place. Okay, when you say that is a dense grouping, it just means that we've got a lot of farmsteads and they're just grouped in one place. So that's known as a village. So when you are saying that you are going to a village, you are not going to somewhere that is isolated. No, you are going to a place that has got many houses next to each other. Okay. And then now, under the urban settlements, they don't usually give you diagrams to describe urban settlements, but basically, urban settlements, we've got a town. So the smallest urban settlement is a town. It is just a densely populated urban area, such as Harrismith is a town. It's an example of a town. Then after that, we've got a city. So a city is a large town. Now, a city is now a larger town. I don't know if I can say Johannesburg is a city, but I don't have experience too much. Okay, I'm not professional. I'm not a professional geographer or something like that. But basically, a city is now a larger town. Okay, and then the main thing that happens in a city, many people live and work there in a city. Not that in towns people don't live and work, they do, but when it comes to definition, we define a city as a large town where many people live and work. For example, East London and Bloemfontein is a city. Okay, and then we have got a metropolis. A metropolis is a main city in a region, and then it is surrounded by a dependent towns. Okay, so basically a metropolis is a main city, so we've got one big city and then that city is surrounded by other independent towns. Okay, so for example, Cape Town, you see Cape Town, there are a lot of towns around Cape Town. We say it's Cape Town as a whole, that big area is Cape Town, but you can look at the smaller towns that are surrounding it. Okay, so the Cape Town is the main city, whereas things like Khayelitsha and whatever other towns, I don't know much about Cape Town, but whatever other towns surrounding Cape Town will be now referred to what as a city. We say Cape Town is a city now because it is surrounded by other towns, but it's the main city. Durban is an example as well. I know Durban, definitely. eThekwini. eThekwini is surrounded by many different towns. Okay, you can look at Olalusha and whatnot. There are many different areas. There are many different dependent towns surrounding a metropolis, as well as Port Elizabeth is one of the examples of which I have no idea of. And then a conurbation is now larger than a metropolis. A conurbation is a large urban area. We say it's a large urban area. It is formed by the growth and coalescence or the combination of a number of cities and towns. So now when we combine cities and towns all together, that big area that is combining cities and towns, it is known as a conurbation. All right. Remember, we had towns which were just densely populated urban areas, and then now we had a city which was a large town where people live and work, and then we had a metropolis which was a main city which has got dependent towns around it. Then a conurbation is that large urban area that is combining all of it, is combining cities, is combining towns. It's combining everything. Okay, that is a conurbation. So a conurbation, such as Witwatersrand. Okay, Witwatersrand, where you find the University of Wits, basically is a large area. Okay, it's a very large area. It has got many cities. It has got many towns in it. So the combination of cities and towns and whatnot, basically the growth and the coalescence of those cities. The word coalescence just suggests that we are combining these cities and towns to make one big conurbation. Okay, so we have got few conurbations here in South Africa, and then the largest one, which is the megalopolis. The megalopolis is a gigantic urban complex. Please note this word, gigantic urban complex. Always use this word to describe a megalopolis. It's a gigantic urban complex. It is formed when several conurbations join, such as Boston, such as New York, such as Washington. So all of those megalopolis, they don't exist in South Africa, basically. So you kind of have to imagine them. Okay, or at least go overseas to see that. So basically, the megalopolis, it is the biggest one. Okay, it is the biggest one. It might happen that this diagram which I've put here, it misinterprets everything, but the megalopolis, it is found at the top. So this is the megalopolis. polis. It is found at the top. And then this written large city, it is actually a metropolis. A large city is a metropolis. So you just correct that diagram. I extracted it somewhere else. So basically, this is how it works. So the megalopolis is a very gigantic urban complex. Now we are combining conurbations as well. So the megalopolis is the mother of all. It has got conurbations in it. It has got cities and towns and everything. There is a lot of economic activities that is happening in a megalopolis. So this is basically a basic introduction on how settlements work. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for watching this video. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Tell your friends to stay tuned.